Do you remember Ash's Beedrill? I'm sure that 99% of the Pokemon fandom in fact does not remember this Pokemon, and why would that be? Well, Ash caught it in one episode, and it was on his team for a grand total of 5 minutes, and no, I'm not joking. In today's video, I want to recap the events that led up to its capture, and the aftermath that led to not many people knowing that Ash ever caught one. And I think that this result is actually more surprising than you think. So let's go back in time to August 24, 2000, and episode 161 of the original series The Bug Stops Here aired in Japan. Ash is fresh off after finally defeating Whitney and claiming his 3rd badge in the Johto region. Ash, Misty, and Brock head towards Ecruteak City, which is where Ash's 4th gym badge awaits when he runs into the bug catching contest. Joke's on them, there are still 20 episodes before they'd even get to Ecruteak City. Here we run into Casey again, which fun fact was originally going to be Ash's name in the West before they decided on Ash, and this was our 2nd time running into her. The first time the gang ran into Casey, she was still a complete noob and still getting a hang of things, and now, while she's still a noob, she can hold herself much better than before. Casey's recurring gag in the anime is that she always does a chant for her favorite baseball team, the Electabuzz.
Let's all cheer Electabuzz, greatest team of all. The players charge the field and double team the ball.
And while it is adorable seeing her love for her favorite team, it is often long-winded and just seems like a time filler. 30 seconds for her first chant, which is like 5% of the episode's runtime. In the grand scheme of things, it isn't that much, but it actually kind of is. And so Ash, Brock, Misty, and Pikachu's reaction is basically mine. But not Togepi, he's just seen some shit. JC and James are also seen trying to enter the competition, but they can't because there's a rule that says you need to be under 16 years old to enter, which confirms us the fact that they're at least over 16. Or at least look it. It would have been really fun to have them drop their ages here. The rules for the bug catching contest are explained, where trainers can only use 1 Pokemon each, and in order to catch a bug Pokemon they must use a Park Ball. So it's a fun variation of what regular bug catch contests are in the games. In Gen 2, you could only use 1 Pokemon as well from your party, but you were given 20 Park Balls instead, which makes sense because you won't be lucky to get a rare Pokemon off of just 1 ball. The man mentions that the balls are reusable, which is actually pretty interesting and something I've never thought about. So I wonder if when a trainer releases Pokemon from their Pokeballs, are they able to reuse them again? What's this? An Elon Musk reference. The contest begins and Ash immediately runs into a Weedle, and they invented Twitch really early as the entire thing is being broadcast on a big screen, but somehow it's only Ash and it has his POV. Don't know how they pulled that off, but I can say that they were innovative. As Ash and Pikachu are about to attack it, Casey came out of nowhere and uses Razor Leaf with her Chikorita, and throws the Park Ball and catches it, stealing it right from under Ash's nose. They begin bickering as Ash claims the Weedle belonged to him, but Casey did rightfully catch it, so I'm gonna give this one to Casey. Back to Misty, and she's hiding behind a tree because the bug Pokemon might appear at any second, when behind her, friendly Togepi is chatting it up with a Caterpie. She swats it away, and then immediately a Spinarak comes out from the tree and trolls her, and it also gets swatted away. In an actual unhinged scene, Jessie is dressed up as Venomoth, the same costume worn by the park employee earlier, and she is luring the wild Pokemon. When a wild Venomoth appears, she actually flirts with it to try to let its guard down.
Yes, turn on the charm.
Well, I'll try. Hi, don't be bashful. Let's get acquainted, shall we?
Venom.
But it wasn't having any of it, so it just used Stun Spore and paralyzed the trio instead. Back to Casey, she shows us some Gen 2 mechanics. Well, at least kinda. She commands Chikorita to use Tackle on a tree as some Pineco fall down. Of course, starting in Gen 2, you can use Headbutt on trees to have wild Pokemon encounters. While it wasn't exactly the same, I do applaud them for showing off that in the anime. We see some Pineco and Brock has to explain to Missy that it is in fact the bug type, and considering he caught one almost 20 episodes ago, I could have sworn she should have known that by now. Chikorita is able to take down the flock of Pineco with a flurry of various attacks, and not gonna lie, as a fan of baseball, I love all the puns of this episode.
Don't let him score on you, Chikorita. Good offense is the best defense.
A winning inning.
Wow, Chikorita's an all-star.
Ash remarks how Chikorita are weak to Pineco as if they aren't weak to literally every bug type. Chikorita is clearly exhausted after this battle, but Casey is shown to be in the lead up to this point with Ash barely checking behind her. They run into Scyther right after, and Casey explains how if they catch a Scyther, they're almost guaranteed to win. This is actually another game reference, as catching one of these in fact is almost always guaranteed a win. Either Scyther or Pinsir are your best bet to score a lot of points. They trade a few blows, but by this point Chikorita is too tired and Scyther starts gaining the advantage. The best they can do is jump on Scyther's face when Ash comes running in and explains that Chikorita is too tired to be battling right now. Casey doesn't buy it and she keeps pushing Chikorita too hard, but Pikachu is there to zap the Scyther and distract it after leaving it paralyzed. Feeling bad about disappointing Casey, Chikorita wanders off and hides in a bush, but luckily Misty's Togepi wandered off on its own and it happened to find it there. Misty shows up and tells Casey that she needs to know when to quit and that Chikorita did its best for her, so she needs to acknowledge when it's time to hang up her cleats. It's fun seeing these two interact here as they would also co-star in a Pokemon Chronicles episode together again later. Chikorita overhears all the talk that Brock and Misty are giving to Casey, and in an effort to defend, her trainer goes out and cheer her up and stand by Casey's side. Honestly, these two make such a great pair. And ruining the moment is a Paris who just falls on Brock's head and gets the same swatting treatment as the other bugs. Ash is still following the Scyther and everyone has their hopes up that he's gonna catch one, cause honestly he would totally rock with a Scyther. He sees some red eyes peering through the bushes and it's actually a horde of Beedrill. This time reminds me of when he was chased by Beedrill in the beginning of the series. Well, he tries chucking a Pokeball at one, but it just yeets it right back. A Thunderbolt from Pikachu and one more throw later however and Ash has caught himself a Beedrill. Pikachu and Ash cheer for their victory and fall into a pitfall which Ash immediately recognizes as being Team Rocket. And for some reason in their motto, they have Japanese outfits with stereotypical festival things like a koi fish in a bag, no not a Magikarp, cotton candy, takoyaki, a yo-yo, and choco banana. Casey, Missy, and Brock run up to Team Rocket, and after they call the Electabuzz losers, this really fires Casey up as no one calls her team losers. She calls them losers instead, and then they attack her, so Casey and Chikorita team up to fight against Team Rocket. We get even more baseball puns.
Ha ha! We made the catch!
This is the bottom of the ninth, and you already got 2 strikes against you, kid. Fastball's gonna end the game.
And if you don't like puns, you probably react like Jesse. But
Now I guess we'll all have to start using baseball terms.
I love them, so I can't relate. After being fired up from Casey's pep talk, Chikorita evolves into Bayleaf and now it's ready to bat the baseball missile, with its new powerful Razor Leaf able to destroy the missile and the cage holding Ash and Pikachu. Ash and Pikachu then use Thunderbolt to send Team Rocket to the bleachers. It then immediately cuts to the finale of the competition as Ash is awarded for being the winner with his beautiful Beedrill. I guess no one else really cared to catch anything. His reward is a Sunstone and being able to keep the Beedrill, which gets replaced with being in a Pokeball. The Sunstone is in fact the prize awarded for getting first place in the games as well, so that's a nice touch. After some nice conversations between Ash and Casey, he decides to give her the Beedrill as a thanks for saving him from Team Rocket and because she likes yellow striped Pokemon. She thanks him, we get another horrendous Electabuzz fight song, and that's that. Ash's Beedrill. He literally had it for 5 minutes of anime screen time in which it was never sent out of its Pokeball besides the award ceremony. It was never mentioned again, it was just forgotten to time. In fact, its only ever appearance was in the Pokemon Chronicles episode I mentioned earlier, and even then it was so minor you could even disregard it. It never learned a new move, it never did anything significant, but even then I find the story behind the only Pokemon that Ash has ever given away to be pretty interesting. A fun fact to leave you on is that when Ash was given Beedrill as his reward for winning the tournament, he already had Pikachu, Bulbasaur, Chikorita, Cyndaquil, Totodile, and Noctowl on his team, so Beedrill should have been sent to Professor Oak directly. So technically it should have been zapped to his PC box, and not even had a chance to be given to Casey at all. But hey, why ruin the magic that is giving? Have you ever seen this episode before? Did you know he even had a Beedrill? If so, what did you think? But if there's one thing, and one thing only you should take away from this episode, it's that it's important to root for the Electabuzz and no one else.
The Buzz greatest team of all. The players charge the field